4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you the ace match between Samsung Khan and KT Rolster. And in this matchup, we have Stork versus Stats. KT choosing not to send out Flash, probably because he's at the finals. But Samsung sending out its best player, Stork. Stork as the yellow Protoss at the 12 o'clock position. And we have Stats as the blue Protoss at the 4 o'clock position. So this is actually a rematch of, I think it was set 3 or 4. I actually forget now. But they faced off earlier this series, and why can I not remember which set it is that they faced off on? It was set 3. Yeah, it was set 3. So okay, anyway, this is a rematch. Last time, Stork getting cut off by a timing attack, an early Dragoon push coming from Stats, and Stork still almost managing to come back in the end, but Stats' economy was just too strong. Stork went for the expansion, and Stats went for the fast Dragoon push. Stats managed to burn down Stork's expansion, and that was, from that point on, Stork was just behind the entire game economically. Let's see what both players do this game, whether they will go for anything simple. Stork, of course, wants revenge. Stork, one of the best PvP players of all times. He's probably pretty pissed, and there's Coach January. She almost looked like she was like asleep there. Surely she's thinking and not asleep. It is hard to tell from that angle. Anyway, Stork here, I still say that Stork wants revenge, so he's fired up, hopefully. Stats, though, wants to make sure that he wins it for his team, and 2-0ing Stork in a Pro League series is an impressive accomplishment, for sure. So, a lot on the line here for not only both players, but, of course, for the team. Both players scouting in the right direction. This is Neo Aztec, the 3-player map, so everything is exactly mirrored at this point. Gateway Simulator, Cybernetics score coming out for both players, surely. But let's see whether there's any sort of divergence coming out soon. Cybernetics score down for both players. Actually, it looked like Cybernetics core here down for Stats, but I don't know. I don't see the Cybernetics core down for Stork yet. He decided to put down a pylon earlier, and he only has 2 probes mining gas. And there was a kill there of the scouting probe by Stork. He executing Stats' scouting probe. He's obviously not looking happy here. Now the core going down for Stork. Guess the early pylon allows him to build not only Zealot or 2 more there, so he's trying to put some pressure on with the Zealots, or maybe use it to block the ramp. Actually, that makes more sense. That he's using the Zealot to block the ramp. Now, we see that Stork still has his scout alive. He stats his base. That's going to be critical information gathering for Stork. He knows exactly what Stats is doing. He's not going to get caught off guard this time, hopefully. Looks like Stork has put down 2 gateways, just judging by the mini-map. And a second gateway coming down here from Stats. So Stats also doing a very similar build compared to Stork, just not opting to get that Zealot early. He has more Dragoons. Well, specifically, he has 1 less Zealot and I think 1 more Dragoon. Well, okay, 2 less Zealots. 2 fewer. Fewer is counterbow and less is not. So 2 fewer Zealots. Regardless, there is some divergence here. Looks like Stats is going more Dragoon heavy, and Stork is going, well, surely he's got Dragoons coming out now, but he does have 2 Zealots to absorb damage there for him. So let's see how this works out for both players. Stork with a nice little blockade on his ramp there. Unfortunately, this map, Neo Aztec, your main is beneath the high ground, is on low ground. So actually, if your opponent manages to box you in, it is really, really bad. And it's pretty much GG, because unlike in the last time they played, where usually your base is on the high ground, so at least you can hold out against range units, but if your base is on the low ground, there's no chance, no hope of ever breaking out. Stats bring up 2 Dragoons to do a bit of damage here, but Stork, with some more Dragoons of his own, picking away a bit there at Stats, forcing Stats back for now. Robo Bay down here for Stats. He's going to get some observers, probably, unless he opts for for fast Reavers, that might also be a possibility. Bay coming down, I mean, not Bay, the robotics facility coming down here for Stork. So, both players playing a rather similar game at this point. It does look like neither player is, well, I should say neither player is going something crazy, but Stats especially seems to be paranoid about something. He's scouting all over the place for proxies, and I think that's wise during this time. The only thing I would say is that Stats needs to be a bit careful. He needs to keep like a probe, and he does have a probe. Good for him. I was just saying this. He needs to keep a probe to make sure he doesn't get caught off guard by Stork's army. And if Stork manages to isolate part of Stats' army and pick off like 2 Dragoons, that is a massive loss at this point in the game. Stats being very cautious here. I like that. Both players putting down their Nexuses. So maybe this will be a longer game. Although just the first expansion is not necessarily indicative of anything, but could this possibly be an epic PvP? Who knows? Here's hoping that whatever the outcome is an exciting game and a close finish. And so far, every indication is that these two players are fairly evenly matched. The only thing I might be a bit concerned is that despite Stats having such a strong economic advantage the last time they met, Stork still had, and Stork, even when Stork did micro his units perfectly, he still almost came back. If he had managed to launch an attack earlier and preserve a few more of his forces, who knows how Game 3 would have turned out, and there wouldn't be this ace match now. I think Stork, is going to find his inner fire here and show Stats that he's the true winner here. Both players with their expansions up at the exact same time. Stork now moving out his Dragoons. He has the high ground advantage. This is going to force Stats back. Stats just picking away a bit at that Zealot. Observers spotting each other. Stats needs to be a bit careful and not lose his observer. It's always silly, I think, to lose your observer like that. Stats managing to get his observer out of the base. He needs to preserve that. Observers are so useful to scout, keep track of your opponent's forces, and just in case there are Dark Templar, like in that game between Tempest and Brave, the Dark Templar are absolutely critical. So, you gotta have observers out. Here we have Stork seeing everything that Stats is doing. I don't see the robotics support bay down for Stats. Surely it is down somewhere in his base, I just don't see it. And Stork, and here we have a shutout out for Stats, so it's probably got a Reaver in there already. And Stork he's got his own Reaver out. He's probably building the shuttle. Second, looks like Stork is coming in for a bit of an attack. He has a stronger ground army. Stats needs to be careful here with his Reaver. That Reaver, only a bit of HP picked off. Stork managing to retreat his army in an orderly fashion, losing 1 Dragoon there. Not too bad. He now has the high ground, and he's going to push Stats back. Stork with some more Dragoons in his base. He seems to be concerned about a sneak attack from the back. Again, he should be. This is a wise move. I mean, one good